When he needed them the most, these two Republicans just stabbed Trump in the worst way. The Senate's Obamacare repeal and replace is officially dead in the water as two more senators declared they would vote against the bill. Republican Senators Mike Lee of Utah and Jerry Moran from Kansas declared that they will be joining Rand Paul of Kentucky and Susan Collins in opposition to the current version of the bill. Several other Republican senators had been undecided, but only two could vote against the bill and still get the bill to pass. Senator Lee said of his decision, in addition to not repealing all of the Obamacare taxes, it doesn't go far enough in lowering premiums for middle-class families, nor does it create enough free space from the most costly Obamacare regulations. Senator Moran said, "We should not put our stamp of approval on bad policy. We must now start fresh with with open legislative process to develop innovative solutions that provide greater personal choice, protections for pre-existing conditions, increased access, and lower overall cost for Kansas." President Trump had invited several senators to dinner over the weekend to talk about the health care bill and shore up support for it. He had previously called Obamacare a disaster and urged the Senate to replace it in a video last week. Next week, the Senate is going to vote on legislation to save Americans from the Obamacare disaster. Senate Majority Mitch McConnell is in a tough bind to craft legislation that appeals to nearly all Republican senators. Even the addition of Ted Cruz's amendment to allow some insurers to offer cheaper plans outside of Obamacare did not win enough senators. The Republican legislators need to get their act together. They have been promising to repeal Obamacare for years, and now they finally have their chance. Share this if you think enough is enough, and get Obamacare out. Well, I don't even want a repeal and replace. I think the government should have nothing to do with that. That's my opinion. Let's take a quick listen here, and I'm glad this.
My fellow Americans, next week the Senate is going to vote on legislation to save Americans from the Obamacare disaster.
We know it's a
Obamacare
disaster.
has wreaked havoc on American lives, and if we don't replace it, the calamity will only get worse, and I mean get worse by a lot. Here is just one story representative of so many others. Carrie Cooey and her husband are cattle ranchers. They have 6 children, and the youngest is autistic. Her family's rates under Obamacare skyrocketed, eventually costing the Cooeys 3 times more than their previous plan. They were dropped from health insurance 4 times under Obamacare. When I met with Carrie in March, she told us that her family couldn't afford the equipment they needed to do the jobs while paying these crushing insurance premiums. Americans like Carrie and her family desperately need relief from this terrible, terrible law. The Democratic politicians who passed Obamacare made many big promises, but they turned out to be lies. Absolute, total lies.
That's true.
They promised Obamacare would reduce premiums by $2,500. Instead, premiums have skyrocketed by numbers that nobody can even believe, sometimes many, many thousands of dollars. They promised that if you liked your plan, you could keep your plan. Instead, millions of American families saw their plans canceled. They promised Obamacare would offer better options for American families, but in the past 2 years, half the insurance companies have pulled out and left the individual market. And today, Americans in 1/3 of all counties have only one insurer to choose from on the exchanges, and they probably will shortly have no insurers at all. The Senate health care bill stops the Obamacare disaster, expands choice, and drives down costs. And I want to tell you, the Republican senators are working very hard to get something that's going to be really, really good. The opposite of the big lie, which was Obamacare. The bill would reduce premiums by 30% or more by 2020. It allows state
30% or more. So the people were paying like $3,000 or whatever, $4,000, whatever he said. I don't remember. So what's the difference? $4,000, $3,000. I mean, you got to be kidding. This is bull. Forget about it. You know, it would implode on itself anyway.
Freedom to escape even more of Obamacare's rules and create innovative healthcare solutions for their citizens. In other words, we'll be taking something away from the federal government and getting it back to the states who can better provide and who know better what to do. It provides generous funding for people with expensive health conditions, which will lower premiums in the individual market. The bill doubles the amount that Americans can contribute to tax-free health savings accounts and allows you to use those accounts to pay your premiums. This plan provides states with the much-needed flexibility to better manage their Medicaid programs. It maintains Medicaid coverage for every single elderly American, disabled American, and American child who is currently on the program. It also expands the opportunity for people on Medicaid to purchase a private plan with federal financial assistance. And with these much-needed long-term reforms to strengthen the safety net for our neediest citizens, the Obamacare repeal and replace plan would significantly reduce the federal deficit. So it would be good for the federal government. It'll cost you less money by a lot, and it'll be a much better plan. You can't do better than that. When I ran for president, I made a commitment to the American people to repeal and replace Obamacare. I am pleased to report that we are very, very close to ending this health care nightmare. We are so close. The legislation working its way through Congress provides the choice and control people want, the affordability they need, and the quality they deserve in health care. It's a common sense approach that restores the sacred doctor-patient relationship. And you're going to finally have great health care at a lower price. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
The thing is, Obamacare would have imploded. And again, what did we say? The money goes to the Fed. All right? So, listen, there's no way that this is a very intricate thing, and the insurance companies thought they were getting rich. The insurance companies have pulled out. That's why, because they're losing money. It's a business, whether we like to admit it or not. It's a business. You're not going to get anybody wanting to, no insurers want to cover these things. Believe me. This is a whole disaster. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.